Hello and welcome to Politics Today, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in Nigeria's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. It's already day 2 into the new year, so whatever plans you've been resolving to implement, my hope is that you are at it. And talking about implementation of plans, the Rivers State Governor, Ehie Fubara, has just revealed that the resignation of Ehie, the leader of the 4 lawmakers loyal to him from the State House of Assembly, was part of the implementation of the peace deal brokered by President Bola Tinubu. It says the decision to abide by the peace accord is considered to be in the best interest of the state, not out of fear. Governor Fubara was speaking at the New Year's Day banquet at the government house in Port Harcourt, and he believes that the residents of the state would have been the biggest casualties if the political crisis in the state had persisted.
We will not disappoint you. We also will not be involved in any dirty fighting. Whatever it will take, as seen in our decisions. Yesterday, a lot of you were worried. Why would the Speaker? It's to tell you what we can do for peace. It's not about what we want to gain. It's not about the power we want to express or exercise. But at the end of the day, what are we leaving for our people? So we took those decisions not out of fear, but because at the end of the day, when we leave here, we want people to remember us that we are people who are prepared to give in anything for the interests of our dear state.
Well, the issues of Rivers politics, people said it is not over yet. So we're following through. Just moments ago, we got a communication from the State House of Assembly. If you remember, the letter written by Mr. Ehie, he resigned as both the Speaker and the member of the House of Assembly. Now, the clerk of the House, Emeka Amadi, PhD, has written to say at no time was he elected a Speaker of the House. So that is the latest coming from the State House of Assembly. But we'll visit all of that maybe later on. But for now, let's head to other states where the governors of the north-central states of Nigeria visited Plateau State following the Christmas Eve attack on some communities in the state. Governors Hyacinth Ali of Benue, Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa, and Governor Umaru Bago of Niger are part of the delegation who paid a condolence visit to Governor Caleb Muftuang at the government house in just the Plateau State capital. The other 5 states in the north-central, comprising Benue, Kwara, Niger, Nasarawa, and Kogi, have also donated the sum of 100 million naira to the victims of the attack.
People of Plateau had always lived in peace with one another. We had Fulanis that spoke Birom and Mogabul fluently. We had some of them that spoke better Mogabul than even His Excellency the governor. And we had some of them that spoke Birom. I will be careful not to mention anything more than that. And those are the kinds of situations that we had. So what has happened? What has gone wrong? How can we resolve it? Because this cannot continue to happen on and off, on and off, on and off. And that is the reason why we came, Your Excellency. So that we can come to talk to you, to tell you, our brother, that we have to find a way. You should be the one, you should gather the courage to invite all those involved, all the major stakeholders, irrespective of where they are.
There is none of these states in North Central that bandits have not invaded. And I like what Dr. Bago said. Bandits are terrorists. There is no other word to explain it. Kidnappers are thieves, but bandits are terrorists. And we need to label them as such. so that we deal with them as such.
And now to what's happening in Ondo State, where the Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party in that state has suspended its chairman, Mr. Fatai Adams, over allegations of anti-party activities and engaging in acts likely to bring the party into disrepute, according to them. In a statement signed by 9 of the state executive, advised the suspended chairman to appear before the state disciplinary committee of the party for further interrogation within the next 1 week. However, the party re-emphasizes that it will not tolerate any incursion by the ruling party, that's the APC, into its ranks. There's a growing concern, and it has to do with this particular story, where the Federal Ministry of Education has suspended the evaluation and accreditation of degree certificates from Benin and Togo republics, pending the outcome of an investigation into certificates from both countries. In a statement by the spokesperson of the ministry, the suspension follows the outcome of an investigation by an undercover reporter who claimed to have bagged a degree from a university in Cotonou in 6 weeks and participated in the NYSC scheme here in Nigeria. According to the statement, the investigation would involve the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, that's of Nigeria, and the 2 countries. The ministry is responsible for education in the 2 countries as well as the Department of State Services and the National Youth Service Corps. The statement goes on to say that the outcome of the investigation lends credence to suspicions that some Nigerians deploy nefarious means and unconscionable method to get a degree with the end of objective or the objective of getting graduate job opportunities for which they are not qualified. The ministry says it has commenced internal administrative processes to determine the culpability or otherwise of our staff, for which applicable public service rules will be applied, and calls for public support to unravel the truth. Well, today on the program, that will be one of our major focus, where from that undercover reporter, according to the statement from the ministry, that individuals from Nigeria head out to those countries outside our country, just within our neighborhood, and gain or obtain certificate under very questionable circumstance. We're going to be joined by someone in the know to help us unravel all of that, as well as other stories we'll be dealing with today on the program. But for now, let's bring you our political roundup stories.
The governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, has again assured the Nicaraguan community in Ovia Southwest local government area of improved access and infrastructure to boost their economic activities. Governor Obaseki reiterated his pledge during a town hall meeting with the community leaders. He also used the occasion for an inspection tour of the waterways along Ovia Southwest and Ipobaha local government areas of the state.
Now that we have been able to secure the Nicaragua and surrounding communities, I'm here to also further the promise I made, which is that we're going to improve access. Because once this place is safe, the next thing is you want to have access.
Enugu State Governor Peter Mba has assured residents of his commitments to implement policies that will reduce the impact of inflation on the living standard of people. Governor Mba spoke during the New Year Holy Mass at the Government House, Enugu. He adds that the ongoing urban renewal program, the smart schools and health centers are in tune to ensure that civil servants do not incur financial burden over good life for themselves and family members.
We're going to request that they be patient with us, because some of the programs we're doing in terms of our urban renewal initiatives may also affect some people. But the truth is that we're also going to take steps to ensure we mitigate the pains.
Governor Ehie of Gombe State says his administration has mapped out plans to reach out to more poor and vulnerable persons in the 11 local government areas of the state. Governor Ehie explained this at the flag-off of the second phase of the food palliative distribution program at the state capital. President Bola Tinubu has approved the suspension of Dr. Halima Shehu from the office of the new National Coordinator, National Social Investment Program Agency, over alleged financial impropriety. The president also ordered a comprehensive investigation into the allegations against her. However, Dr. Akindele Egbualo has been appointed as a replacement in acting capacity. Dr. Egbualo was until this appointment the National Coordinator of the Empower Program, and his new appointment takes effect immediately.
There's a big question. What is going on in the education sector? We have a lot to deal with already in the country, but now with this revelation, as confirmed by the Ministry of Education, that some persons go outside our country, say Benin or Togo, where this accreditation and evaluation has been suspended going forward until the conclusion of an investigation between the Ministries of Foreign Affairs, Education of both countries, RDSS, as well as NYSC, to unravel what is considered unwholesome practice, some level of short court to get a degree. So there was a report that came out by a young journalist from Daily Nigerian who said he went undercover and actually applied to one of the universities in Benin Republic, just Cotonou here. And in 6 weeks, read my lips, 6 weeks, he obtained a degree certificate. Came back into Nigeria and applied for the NYSC, did what he could do in terms of the detail, got some persons in government who were ready to compromise, and according to his story, he was able to secure an NYSC space where he eventually served in Cross River State before he broke this story. So how much of that is already going on in our country? Well, I'm being joined on the program by Dr. Suleiman Rahman Yusuf. He's a former Deputy Executive Secretary of the National University Commission. He's joining us from our Abuja studio. Dr. Rahman Yusuf, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Doctor, I'm sure that you would have read the story. So maybe I will need your understanding of what you make of that particular story by that young gentleman who claimed to have unraveled this particular, let's just call it what it is, crime.
Well, the truth of the matter is that to say that this story broke and is such an earth-shaking discovery is like saying Mongo Park discovered River Niger. The truth is that this problem is perennial and it is seemingly intractable. Now, a few years ago, the National Universities Commission sent a group of journalists, education correspondents, as a matter of fact, to Ghana as part of this widespread abuse of qualification by some of our neighboring countries. Now, what did we find? This was widely publicized at the time. In Ghana at that time, there was a shopping mall called Academy City in Accra, where there were 2 universities in a shopping mall. At that time, about 80% of the students of one of those so-called universities were from one state in Nigeria, Borno State. Now, so back to the story concerning Benin Republic and Togo. It's not new. You see, because the General Shaibu, as the DG NYSC, came to NUC when I was still Deputy Executive Secretary, and it was a big issue about how can we have graduates at orientation camp who couldn't write a paragraph of correct, a short paragraph in English language that would make sense. So it's a long-standing problem. We also know, we have it on record, that there was a university in Niamey, in Niger Republic, where Nigerians will go for weekends a couple of times and get a bachelor's degree in nursing. Nursing, for crying out loud. So, but the issue is we will keep going round and round on these issues. Many of these neighboring countries are not serious about education. As a matter of fact, it's a form of hostility because they are aware that these degree mills are flourishing in Benin, in Togo, Niger. But the interesting thing is none of their own citizens are students of these degree mills. So I will quickly like to commend the swift response by the Honorable Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, by taking this swift action to suspend. We need to do more than that, because this is not the first time this matter is coming to the fore. Now, we need to do something different. You see, in many Francophone countries, they do not have, by the way, let me quickly say that the composition of the committee that is being put together to investigate this matter is also going to be a bit of a problem. How do you investigate degree mills without the participation of the National Universities Commission? That is the statutory agency responsible for quality assurance of university education in Nigeria. So I would like to suggest very quickly that NUC should be an active participant in this exercise. The results will not be surprising. We already know the results. These degree mills are flourishing. Now, in many of the Francophone African countries, as I was saying, they do not have, many of them don't have national quality assurance agencies. But there is a regional...
Doctor, please, if you can hear me,
yes.
Sir. Yeah, for the purpose of reference. I understand what you mean, but for the purpose of reference for the general public, what are degree mills?
Yes, yes. Degree mills are fly-by-night bogus institutions that purportedly award qualifications for which they themselves have no competence. Okay? And that is why you can find somebody earning a so-called degree in 6 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 1 month, because these are not universities. They are mere degree mills where they churn out paper qualifications that have no value whatsoever. So those are degree mills. They are well known all over the world.
So you're very confident that it's just basically these degree mills, not necessarily, as a matter of fact, that's what I'm asking, that not an actual university accredited and known by that country that churn out these degrees. It's just degree mills. Or you say normal universities are not culpable.
No. You see, there are no. Let me be very, very clear.
All right.
They are universities recognized by their home countries.
Okay.
But what will interest Nigerians is to find that some of these universities, as I said, do not admit citizens of their nations in which they operate. Now, some of them are, approved universities without accreditation for some of the so-called degrees that they award to Nigerians. One of them in Benin Republic, for example, has approval and accreditation to offer some degrees in agriculture. But it offers degrees to Nigerians in business, in banking and finance and so on. Okay? So that is a big issue as far as the issue of quality assurance is concerned. So they are known, and that is why it is important to quickly make this point. When some officials of the Federal Ministry of Education are approached to make an official comment on the status of some of these universities, I think there's a sense in which there's a confusion between the term approved university and accredited university. Approval is not necessarily accreditation. Let me give you an example. There are many universities in Nigeria that do not have accreditation to offer medicine, MBBS. Yes, they are approved universities. You'll find their names among the list of approved universities that NUC publishes every week. But see, so when somebody asks you, is this university approved? The answer could be yes, but the question should be approved to do what? So if the university is approved and licensed to operate in a country, it is important to take the next step to ask, this LLB program, this is a Bachelor of Law program that the university is offering. Does it have accreditation to offer that law program? Does University X have accreditation to offer a medical degree? So when people blindly just look at a list of universities in Togo and say, oh yes, you find the École Supérieure de whatever it is on that list, they say, oh yes, it's an approved university. That is where many of these people are misled. And of course, that is also the opportunity that some of the corrupt officials, seize to exploit the Nigerians who go to them. But let me also quickly add that in all of this, there is no victim. All those people with those degrees are clear-headed crooks who knew what they were paying for. Because some of them are people who cannot pass the UTME. Some are people who do not have 5O level credits. So they actually go shopping for these bogus institutions where they get their bogus qualifications from. So quickly, I would like to suggest, if you will allow me, that beyond the committee, beyond the issue of the committee, as I said, in many Francophone African countries, they do not have national quality assurance agencies equivalent to the National Universities Commission. However, they have an agency called CAMES. That is the African and Malagasy Council for Higher Education. That body is responsible for all the 19 Francophone African countries in terms of quality assurance of all their bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees, in addition to the promotion of professors and recruitment of academics. So what we need our Ministry of Education to do today, because when I was at NUC, I was privileged to lead a delegation to CAMES in Ouagadougou, and then following that visit, we signed an MOU, NUC signed an MOU with CAMES. So what the ministry needs to do now, in addition to what efforts the Honorable Minister is making, is to ensure that going forward, any qualification presented by Nigerian for Benin Republic, Togo, wherever, Ghana, Niger, they should refer that qualification to CAMES in Ouagadougou, because CAMES has the records of all the accredited programs in the accredited universities in the 19 Francophone African countries.
All right.
You see, so there's no officer in the ministry that will be competent on his own or our own to just look at a book containing a list and tell anybody that this degree is from an accredited institution, so accredited to award the qualification under reference.
All right, Dr. Rahman Yusuf. Before we get to some of the drivers, I'm going to ask a few questions that relates to some of the drivers. Is this just, you said this has been happening, you know, more like perennial. Do you also notice this?
It's perennial. It's perennial.
Universities outside of Africa, just African universities?
You see, as I said, the term degree meal is recognized even by UNESCO. These, as I said, are fly-by-night institutions that cater to the need of dubious degree seekers who will leave proper universities and go shopping in these degree meals for bogus qualifications. Okay, so that's why I said they are not innocent, they are all crooks. They deliberately go to those places knowing that there's no way you can get a degree in 6 months or even 1 year.
So in essence, you're saying
is whether they are crooks.
It's beyond Africa, it's all over the place.
It's beyond, yes, it's a global issue within the framework of academic corruption.
Okay,
it's not an African, it's not a Togolese problem.
Okay, let's come back because I can accommodate. Yes. You can answer as much questions as possible now that we have the opportunity of speaking to you. He also mentioned the gentleman who did that undercover report. Maybe we blame the persons you say go out to get degree by all means necessary. But he said he has served as an NYSC member before, and that was part of his challenge, that whether he's going to follow through again now that he's applying under this undercover premise. And surprisingly to him, by the time he put everything together, I think the only thing that flagged red for him was his email, I think his phone number. By the time he was able to change that, the rest was history. He was able to apply for the NYSC, and he got everything he wanted. He even got posted.
I read the story.
So isn't that an indictment on our own system in itself?
Not necessarily. You see, as I was trying to explain, General Shaibu, when he was DG NYSC, approached the competent authorities at NUC to say, look, how do we deal with these so-called graduates? You see, if you follow the official channel, there's that division in the Federal Ministry of Education that deals with accreditation, verification accreditation. I'm very sure from what I've explained that office needs more than looking at a list of approved universities. The process of cross-checking competent qualifications includes collaborating with competent authorities in the home country of that university to be able to ascertain whether the particular university, A, is an approved university, B, is it approved and accredited to run every program under the sun? No university is so approved. So if we take the next step, okay, yes, A, we tick the box, the university is an approved, recognized university in country X. The next question should be, this degree in nursing, is this a medical university or does it have the approval by competent authorities, and is it fully accredited to offer a degree in nursing? Okay, so by the time we answer this second question, you will now be able to find out from the competent authorities whether indeed this is a university that has competence to award the degree. But the current system is that NYSC will refer to that division in the FME, Federal Ministry of Education. They will look at a list and say that the university is a recognized university. Recognized means is on a list submitted to Nigeria by Benin Republic as a university, without further details about the areas of accreditation, areas of academic competence of that particular university. Let me give you an example. There was this university that was named, fictitiously I think, named after Miriam Abacha. That university in Niger Republic, these records are in NUC. That university at that time was admitting workers in Nigeria who are, nursing administrators. They will go to that university for weekends. We actually sent undercover people there who came with their letter of admission, timetable, and we found that they only had a few interactions over the weekend, and people got nursing degrees in 3 months or less. So it's not new. So what we need to do now is to do something different. Beyond looking at the list of recognized universities in country X, we should take the next step. As I've told you, CAMES is responsible for quality assurance in the 19 Francophone African countries. So what we need to do now is that beyond that list, Federal Ministry of Education people working with NUC, for example, or if they want to work on their own, fine, they should liaise, sign an MOU with CAMES, so that each time there is any query about a qualification, they should discuss with CAMES. CAMES can confirm that this university in Togo, for example, is accredited to offer a Bachelor of Science in Nursing program. Is accredited to offer a degree in business administration. So once you do that, because the NYSC will rely on whatever official correspondence they get from the Federal Ministry of Education. They can't do more than that. Okay, that was why when General Shabu was there, he was so concerned. And then they started giving them exams at the orientation camp. They found that many of them were stark illiterates. Okay. So we need to do this. We need to do something differently.
Okay. As we begin to see how much of this we can take in terms of time, let's look at some of the drivers. I'm going to pick them one after the other. Why? Because there's a motive to everything. Why do you think people go all the way to these places to get these degrees? What does the role of the pressure to get a formal education to be recognized in society like Nigeria play in aiding this crime?
Yeah, you see, let me put it this way. It's like asking a question, what does poverty do as the basis for stealing and for armed robbery? Yes, Nigerians love qualifications. It's not really that we love knowledge. People like paper qualification in Nigeria. I'm a graduate. That graduate may not even be able to communicate properly in the official language, which is English. So, yes, there's a very great demand for degrees. Okay, that's number one. But that cannot justify going to a place. You have universities in Nigeria where the minimum for UTME, a new entrance into the university, is 4 years for most degrees, 5 years for some, 6 years for others. You now go to a place. In fact, many of these people, like these journalists, didn't even need to go to the Benin Republic because there's a collusion between immigration officers who will stamp passports for people who have never traveled anywhere. Okay, so the point is that it's a Nigerian problem at a level. So there are drivers, we love this qualification, but for crying out loud, there is the National Open University of Nigeria, for example, an approved federal government university that was established and runs the open and distance learning mode that is capable of absorbing many of the graduates, candidates that cannot enter the conventional universities through the UTME and direct entry routes. So there is no reason other than criminality for somebody to go and purchase a qualification he has not earned. So yes, the love for degrees is a driver, but people who will be crooks will be crooks. Because there are people who are registered at National University of Nigeria. There are people registered at the University of London who are doing correspondence studies. But these criminals have no intention of studying. They just want to purchase a degree and begin to pretend all over the place and occupying positions meant for graduates. So it's a very serious issue. No matter how many drivers we identify, there can be no justification for people who see proper universities and go and purchase university degrees from degree mills.
So, Doctor, you're also saying
punish severely.
No, land on your thought before I ask my next question, please.
Yes, we need to go beyond setting up committees. We need to punish all those people. Once they are caught, there should be serious punishment beyond sending them away from NYSC camp. They are criminals. Okay? Because when you have, and that is why someone say these Nigerian graduates are very poor. Most of the people they call Nigerian graduates may belong to this category of fly-by-night graduates who go and purchase useless certificates from Benin Republic, Togo, and the other places.
As much as we want to be patriotic, that may be debatable. Let's look at... so you're saying inaccessibility, which is one of the drivers I wanted to mention, but you mentioned it in passing, is not also a reason for this. For people who maybe admire certain institutions, people who feel that if I don't get a degree from a university, now I'm not going to go to a polytechnic, I'm not going to college of education, is not also a driver for all of this?
Yeah. Yeah, you see, let me be very, very clear.
Yes, sir.
Inadequate access is a perennial problem in the Nigerian university system. Everybody bandies around huge statistics between number of UTME candidates and the available spaces. Everybody is aware of carrying capacity constraints in many of our universities. You see, but even if you take example of Togo or Benin Republic, there are accredited courses in approved universities in Togo. The problem here is that many of these people we are talking about do not go to even those accredited universities to do proper degrees. You see, education, let me say something. You see, there's this whole notion of student mobility, mutual recognition of qualifications. Okay, Africa has what is called the Addis Convention, which should enable a Nigerian student to maybe do, if we are getting it right, to spend 1 year in Togo, in a proper university, accredited to offer the particular program, spend 1 year there, spend another 1 year in Ghana, and finish in Nigeria. But you see, many of these Francophone countries have benefited so much from the dubious degrees they give to Nigerians, and that is why Africa cannot achieve the same level of mobility that people enjoy in Europe under the Erasmus program in Europe. Africa started this issue of mobility and mutual recognition of certificates before the Europeans. But because of these Francophones, when it comes to Africa, see, I've been involved in this matter for long, through ECOWAS, through our quality assurance agencies. So it's a problem of the Francophone. Yes, there is inadequate access to education. It cannot be a justification for getting a bogus degree. Nigerians are free to travel anywhere to be admitted to proper universities and proper degrees awarded by competent university senate. Purchasing a degree from anywhere one cannot be exculpated on the basis of just inadequate access. So I would like to say that yes, we love education. People should go to proper institutions, do all the work, roll up their sleeves, do all the spade work, burn the night oil or candle, whatever it is they want to use, and get degrees they can defend. So they stop polluting our human resource base in Nigeria. All these people with all these bogus degrees will just give the Nigerian graduate a bad name.
If I may butt in,
okay?
Doctor.
Among other things.
All right, thank you so much. But just, if you can, 10 seconds, because I understand the time we need to go for a break. You've mentioned punitive measure, but don't you think that punitive measure, if someone is discovered to be a perpetrator of this, everybody in the chain should be held responsible, from the ministry, from immigration, from everybody.
Officer,
everybody.
Whether Minister of Education official.
Everybody.
Yes, the people, as I said, are not victims, they are culprits. So all those people in the I don't want to call it value chain, in that devious
in the racket,
should be apprehended and properly prosecuted and dealt with.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Suleiman Rahman Yusuf, former Deputy Executive Secretary of the National University Commission. Thank you so much, sir, for your insights on the program.
It's been a great pleasure to discuss this very important topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. All right, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we're going to switch gears to politics. Mr. Daniel Bwala, former spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, as well as a public affairs analyst, Mr. Jide Ojo, will join me as we explore some issues that has to do with politics in Nigeria. Join us again. Welcome back. It's Politics Today right here on Channels Television. We're broadcasting live from Lagos, and it's now time to talk politics. I'm being joined on the program via Zoom from London, the former spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, Mr. Daniel Bwala. Mr. Daniel Bwala, thank you, as always, for coming through on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
The truth is that when I was about, there are questions I wanted to ask, but too many things are happening. So I will pick it from where the things are happening. We did read earlier that the Ondo State PDP chairman was suspended by its members, the executive committee, and they are blaming or they're alleging of anti-party activity and other things he did in the party. Well, we're going to have them hopefully tomorrow on the program. But the NWC of the party has released a statement. I'll just read part of the statement. The attention of the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party has been drawn to the purported suspension of the chairman of the Ondo State chapter of our party, Mr. Fatai Adams. The NWC declares the said suspension as null and void and of no effect, not being consistent with provisions of the Constitution as amended and laid down rules. For emphasis, no state working committee has the power whatsoever to contemplate or suspend a state chairman without due recourse to the National Working Committee as provided by the Constitution. The PDP is an organized political party governed by strict adherence to the provisions of its Constitution and rules and will not allow any individual or group at any level to violate its Constitution. Mr. Bwala, before we dig deep into maybe other issues, well, I don't know whether you want to react to this. It's just a quick back and forth.
No, the only thing I can say is probably the actions of the State Working Committee is a reminder to the National Working Committee that the party should be alive to its responsibility, should know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Now, so the propriety of whether the decision is right or wrong is what we will get to know as the facts unfold. But I think that what they did is just suggesting to the National Working Committee that a political party should be functional, should be working. Because at the national level, we have seen so many irregularities that the National Working Committee has failed to address. So if there's anything to take out from, maybe just to tell them, come back to life.
So let's take it from where you just mentioned. The irregularities are some of the things you've noticed in the National Working Committee, because I have a direct question on that basis, but I'm going to hold back since you've mentioned it, since it came out of your mouth. Let me take it from you. What are the irregularities and some of the things you're seeing at the national level that makes you feel like, what is going on with our party?
Well, right before the election and up till today, we have seen activities of key leaders of the party, which ordinarily you would term it as anti-party or you would term it as misconduct against the ethics and etiquette of the party, for which the National Working Committee has not done anything. The chairman of the Governors Forum went to Villa and they showered the encomium on the president, which is not a problem, but some of the things he said at that place could be deemed as anti-party, and nothing happened. Of course, we know the locus classicus, which is Governor Wike and his friends and his associates. They have done more than you can do, and nothing has happened. No official statement has been made to either call him to order, to probably institute disciplinary procedure. And then the National Working Committee, too, has been quiet and sleeping and not playing the role of active opposition party. You have seen, unless once in a while on Christmas Day, when the president gives a speech, they will issue a statement against him. When on New Year Day he issues a speech, they will issue. But between Christmas and New Year and the remainder of the days, there are policy issues by the governing party for which the opposition ought to interrogate. And what I mean interrogate is not just to say that Tinubu's speech is empty. Give facts to support that, right? If it's an economic policy that he has dished out for which you disagree with, differentiate that policy with the policy that PDP stands on, right? If it is the budget, you're criticizing the budget, tell Nigerian people what PDP would have done differently, or where you disagree, not just make a blanket statement. The national publicity secretary of the party should not be like a rabbit that comes out of the hole once in a while. He should be up in the media, engaging and interrogating. That's all I'm trying to say. And that's the reason why Peter Obi had the temerity to say that the Labour Party is going to be the opposition party this year.
I wanted to come to that. What will be your reaction? Because it's like you're taking my questions ahead of before I would say it. When he mentioned that, I understand he mentioned that, look, the Labour Party is going to be the lead opposition. Why do you think he had to say that? Is it because of the posturing of the PDP as is? Because when we talk about lead minority, lead opposition, it should be by number, but perhaps he's not seeing the number. Does it give credence to the people who feel the same way that, look, the lead minority party or the opposition party, quote unquote, is inactive? So it gives credence to his posture.
Yes, he has every reason to say what he's saying, right? At the time, we can interrogate whether Labour Party at this stage is actually a political party or not. I mean, in the real sense of what a political party should do. But the reason he's saying what he's saying is because PDP is sleeping as a political party. But PDP members in their individual capacities have been engaging, interrogating government, playing the role of opposition as individual members of the party. But as a party, PDP has been quiet. And the reason is not far-fetched, because some of the leaders who are misbehaving appear to have certain degree of control on infrastructure of the party. So that's why you find it difficult. I feel ashamed sometimes when I come in on media and journalists continue to say, what is it about A, B, and C in your party that your party can't do something? And you don't have answer because you are an ordinary member. Whatever I say, I'm an ordinary member. I'm not a leader. I'm not in the National Working Committee. But as a private citizen, when we say we are going to call out things, it can't be just calling out the governing party. You call out your own party if they are doing the wrong thing. And that is why this 2024, PDP had better make up his mind to be an opposition party, or Labour Party now will be the opposition party. And the reason why Peter Obi is saying that is because if you have seen the last few weeks, he is singularly has been the person who has been interrogated on issues. Now, but at a better time, we'll talk whether Labour Party as a party can challenge. You can talk as an opposition, but do you have the infrastructure of opposition? That is what Peter Obi lacks. He doesn't have the patience to grow a party. He will never sit down and grow a party. That's the truth.
Why do you think so? Let's quickly start that interrogation, because the members of the party are listening and like, if they are wondering, what is Mr. Boala saying? Okay, maybe you're speaking in tongues. Maybe you can be explicit.
Okay, let me speak in the language of men. Let me speak in the language of men, if that was strong. You see, Labour Party consists of a movement of people who were aggrieved with the status quo. That has to be agreed. And funny enough, it's not just Labour Party. You find these youngsters in all political parties. Peter Obi came into the fore. There is even a bigger picture. We'll talk about it another time. But in the course of interrogating that, you could see immediately after election, he was not engaging with leaders of the party in various states. So it's all about him and what it takes to build a political party in the nature of Labour Party will mean that Peter Obi has to be involved in the activities of Labour Party as a political party, not just him as a candidate. He has to know what is happening in the states where you have the Labour Party. They have to come out with a blueprint on how to develop a grassroots political party. Being angry on social media is not enough opposition. Being angry on Twitter is not opposition. I told you during the campaign, we commissioned data analysts. They did a polling and came up with a finding that 53.7% of those who engage for him on social media don't live in Nigeria. So don't confuse presence in the social media to demonstrate the strength of a political party. A political party is built by structures at the local level, to the state level, to the national level. Does Peter Obi know the national chairman of Labour Party all across Nigeria? Does he know the candidates running for positions across the country?
Well, you'll be in a better position to answer, because when you made a particular statement, I almost wanted to remind you of the fact that when the movement started, we had some people say there were just two people in a room punching the laptop, but the numbers was quite surprising to everybody, 6.1 in the last election. Well,
let me tell you what happened.
Yes.
permit me to tell you what happened.
Tell
you
us.
See, Peter Obi did not secure those votes because of Peter Obi. What happened was that they rile up emotions. They build it around two things. One, marginalization of a section of Nigerians. And two, they build into the sentiments of the religious leaders. What Peter Obi himself did not know, and this is what we have found out after the election, that in fact, even some of the religious leaders that were supporting Peter Obi, I'm talking of Christian religious leaders, supporting Peter Obi at the time, we are actually helping to reduce the number that Atiku could have gotten to emerge as a candidate. Why did I say that? Immediately after the election, these same leaders that were quite vociferous during Buhari, attacking policy issues, immediately after this election, have you heard them for one day speaking against the removal of fuel subsidy, speaking against the floating of the naira? Even some of them in civil rights and the police, they even say Peter Obi is a graduate. But at the beginning, they claim to be working for him. So they used him to stop Atiku, but not because they believe in him.
So before we move on to Peter, because young people will listen and say, I don't know what Boala is saying, because some of us young people mobilized to support him. So I don't know what Boala is saying concerning religious leaders and all of that and the sentiment. Young people say we were just dissatisfied with the government of the day. We just wanted them out, and we felt that this is somebody we can rally around. For those who hold that view, how would you respond?
I quite respect their view. And it is a fact. These young people who are not happy with the status quo, you find them even in other political parties. You find them in PDP. It's a youth. Youth is not limited to one political. Even in APC, there are young people who were dissatisfied with what was happening. So you can find them in different places. For the Labour Party, I quite appreciate and respect the fact that the young people in Nigeria wanted to push a movement and make a change for themselves. So it is not like it is one sect of people that constitute the movement for Peter Obi. There is the religious element, which is majority. Then there is the young people element, which is there. And then there is the element of those who carry that feeling at the time that power must go to the south and wherever it will go, but it mustn't come to the north. So a lot of these factors contributed. But how you would tell, like I said, and I wish Peter Obi well, whether Labour Party will stay alive and active till 2027 is going to be dependent on Peter Obi, right? How he is patient enough to build that political party. He must know the National Working Committee in various states. He must know candidates of the party. He must be involved in building the structure of the party. The church cannot be his structure. That's the point I'm saying. The church is not a structure of a political party.
Okay, let's come back to your party, the PDP. The elections are over, at least the presidential election. The Supreme Court has decided in favor of the president's mandate. So we have President Bola Tinubu who will be there till 2027. But are you seeing anything that suggests that the PDP will eventually, permit my word, put its act together to be able to form a strong force against the APC? With what you're saying, it appears that I don't know, is it a Cold War or inability? You've mentioned some of these things. So do you see any drastic change that will happen between now and 2027 within the PDP, given what you're noticing now, which you yourself, you're very uncomfortable with?
The truth of the matter is that there will be a coalition of political parties that will be very strong. This is a fact that I know, and I don't want to talk about the details. A strong coalition. The coalition that is coming will swallow some of the elements that are creating the problem in the various political parties. You see, if you want to remove Tinubu from power, it will never happen by you going 9 to 5 type of job. You must work 23 hours and 50 minutes, meaning that you have only 10 minutes to sleep. And the 10 minutes you have to sleep is when Tinubu himself is sleeping. Look at what he's doing as a strategic action. You see, if you look at his antecedent in Lagos, his method of leadership is that once he takes over government, he makes sure that the opposition are either obliterated or they are weakened. Look at what is happening. NNPP, some elements came out, they say they are suspending the presidential candidate of NNPP. In Labour, you see one Apapa group, they will never allow somebody to rest. Then in PDP, you see some elements. So he will want to ensure that all these opposition parties continue to have problems. But you see, Once there is a coalition of the parties, some of these little people that are giving the headache in the political parties would have been swallowed. For example, let's talk about Wike, because once you solve the Wike question in PDP, you find solution to all of the problem. Now, Wike would come to a point where even in APC, they will become dissatisfied with him. They will have to ask him to either choose to be a rat or to be there is this animal that is neither a rat nor a bird. They will ask him to choose one because he cannot approbate and reprobate. Then secondly, when the political party PDP organizes the next Congress where you have the new leaders in the National Working Committee, it will be a paradigm shift. So these things are possibility. And that but without any coalition or political party, Tinubu is going to spend the next 8 years. That one is for sure.
That's a very strong statement you made. Now, let's look at other issues. Going back to the rivers issues, I always bring into that conversation time and again as much as I can. And I have always, I don't know what I've asked you, but permit me to ask you just again, just in case I did and I forgot I asked you. The man is, the governor in question is the deputy chairman of the Governors Forum, but we appear to see that the chairman of the Governors Forum and all the governors in PDP appear to be either evasive to do anything or just aloof. What exactly do you make of that scenario?
Majority of them who have allegiance with Wike don't want to hurt Wike. That's why they are quiet. But there are other governors who are more matured and they are focused on what they are doing and they don't want to be entangled in the drama. And do not mistake the quietness of some leaders of the party to mean foolishness. You understand? But Atiku Abubakar has to provide the leadership. The state of the party at the moment will mean that he has to come in and provide leadership for the party. As for the rivers, you only need to pray for that governor. The governor does not know what is even happening. But and only time will tell what is really behind what he is doing that you are not clear. But if he says that is the path he has chosen, you can only wish him well. You cannot govern the state. He's the governor of the state. He said, I want to violate constitution. I want to restore the speaker that was duly removed because he defected. I want to represent the budget. I want to break the law. He said he wants to do it. One is a free moral agent. You have to allow him to do that. But what I can tell you today, I can tell you today is that the governor of Rivers State has fallen into the trap that they want. It's just a matter of time. They will remove him as a governor.
Wow. Okay, you're dropping some hit lines. I don't know what to make of it, but let me ask you just one question in 10 seconds. Do you see the former vice president Atiku Abubakar running again for president?
Sure, he will run. Sure, he will run. He has the capacity, he has the wisdom, he has the knowledge, he has the energy and the zest, and he is a president we never had. Because to be honest with you, if there is any politician who understands the private sector very well, it is Atiku Abubakar. And this our economy can only come alive if there is a private sector-led economy. All
right. Mr. Daniel Bwala, always a delight having you on the program to give your insight on issues around Nigerian politics and its governance. He joined us via Zoom from the United Kingdom. He's the former spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. He holds a lot of titles, but let's leave it at that. Mr. Daniel, thank you for coming on the program as always. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, that's it on the program for tonight. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Good night and God bless Nigeria.